Welcome to Southern Sisters, where real talk meets rooted faith. We're your hosts, Megan, Lindsay, Courtney, and Evie, bringing sisterhood, laughter, and a whole lot of grace to the everyday chaos. Welcome to our episode of Southern Sisters. We are so glad you're here. Thank you so much for stopping by. What do you think? Does that sound weird?
No, don't second guess yourself.
Yeah, you sound
Just
great.
do it.
I'm like, I feel like we're sitting on the couch with friends that listen. So I was thinking about that. I was like, thanks for stopping by. To be part of it.
Grab a snack on your way out.
Yeah. What you drinking in your big old giant cup?
Yeah, exactly. Big old.
I love it. Okay, today we are so glad you're here. We have our listener review spotlight, which I kind of love.
Me too.
I think this is fantastic. Okay, so our spotlight today is from Travel Dreams and Coffee Beans. Thank you so much for this review.
I love that name.
It says, the Southern Sisters podcast is what every woman needs in their life. Topics are timely and so relatable. They're funny and real. I love listening during my morning walks. So we love being with you on your morning walks. Way to go. This is
Love
awesome.
her.
So I just think that the response from the community about this podcast has been incredible.
Mind-blowing, actually.
Yeah. And I love it so much. So thank you for the review.
I'm just here selfishly because I just wanted to see you guys again.
Right?
I know,
It's been a bit with summer and crazy. So us getting together. So we're actually recording this. This is the weekend of 4th of July. We partied all day yesterday.
I don't know if you guys have certain things that you leave the house for where your significant other is like, okay, you have to do that. Or why are you doing that? Like there's certain things that they're like, oh, I'm going to go shopping with my friends all day and have froyo. And they're like, wait, why are you doing this with me?
Yeah.
And this used to be I'm going to shop and go have froyo kind of thing in my significant other's eyes. And now it's like, this is a calling and it's important and it's helping a lot of people.
That's
and
really cool. Yeah.
So there's no like back
like, do
talk
it.
of
Get it,
like,
girl.
yeah, exactly.
That's
like
good.
I'm here supportive. And sometimes it just happens like that.
That's awesome.
Courtney, that's
So,
awesome.
5
is
kids is a
awesome.
lot.
It is a lot.
I just walking out the door. So we have, 2 girls spending the night at our house. And so I told each of the 3 girls to pick one of the little 3 girls before I left. I was like, y'all pick a buddy and you have that person all day. Okay. And I go, Jared, I told them all to pick a buddy. It's going to be fine. You're going to have a great day when you're here for 6 hours by yourself with 6 girls. He goes, 1 on 6 does not sound like a great day. But bye.
Yeah.
Great.
That's awesome. I think that's fantastic. Okay, we are going to go into our icebreaker question. What is something outrageous that you believed as a kid? And I will start. So when I was younger, oldest kid syndrome, I can remember I've heard this story so many times from my dad because I was babysitting the little kids and I were upstairs and the parents were all downstairs. It was like a party or something. And I was upstairs and my dad walks up the stairs and all of a sudden he hears me say, "This is my domain." And so I think that would probably be the most outrageous thing that I believed as a kid is that this was my domain. Because if you know these personalities,
What are you talking about? We're super chill.
We're so good.
I was never in charge.
Right? Nope.
She had to keep telling herself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Never in
this
charge.
is good. I think these all have a theme with
it's-
siblings.
it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our
Yes, it
dynamics
does.
in our family.
Yeah.
Yep. So I thought I was in charge. This was my domain. Never my domain. And often, like, even as an adult, I find myself being like, I'm in charge. This is my domain. It's never my domain.
No, it's
Yeah.
not.
No, it's funny.
It's a good theme, too.
Yep.
We're all a bunch of control freaks. It's fine.
Yes, we are.
Amy, did you have one to share?
Yes. So something that my older sister, speaking of older sisters, something that she told me and my siblings growing up was that if we peed in a pool, that it would turn into jellyfish. So we literally believe this. She does not remember telling us that, but my brothers remember her telling us this. And what's funny is when we were at the beach, like my whole life, I've never been able to pee in a lake or in the ocean. I don't pee in the pool. And it never clicked with me why. Like, I literally can't. So we were at the beach, and Josh, like, our whole married life, he's like, just go in the ocean. Just go in the ocean.
You
And I'm
don't
like,
have to
I
take it all the way back.
yeah, and I'm just like literally standing there, and he's like, "You're making it obvious now. Like, you've been here for too long." I'm just like, I can't make myself do it, and it did not click in my head why I'm like that until this question. It's because of my sister.
He did not want a jellyfish stinging you that day.
Exactly.
Shout out to the other sister dog.
Yes. So that's something outrageous that I believed as a kid.
Oh
that
my
peed in the
gosh.
pool,
You know-
it would turn into jellyfish.
Oh my gosh.
And you're like, I don't want it to sting. And that's how jellyfish are born. I feel like
That's how jellyfish babies are born.
oh my goodness.
Speaking of babies being born.
Oh no.
So I have two that I thought of really quickly. And we talk about these all the time because they're really funny. And I feel
They are
I
funny.
feel like, so one of them was, these are all traumatic things that siblings tell you. One was when I first got my very first training bra. I was so excited. And I remember Megan telling me one night, she was like, you know, if you go to sleep with it on, it'll stick to you forever and you'll never be able to take it off. And I was like, what? I'm never going to
Subtle
sleep in a bra.
torture.
Now I'm like, why would I want to sleep in a bra? That's crazy. But anyways, the second one, the one that was really great, was we were playing Barbies, right?
Yeah.
And we were playing Barbies, and it was really fun. And I, of course, was playing like house with my Barbies, and I wanted my Barbies to have children because they had just gotten married. It was very exciting.
Keep going. I've got a commentary on this, but you keep telling. That's
Okay.
fine. I'll wait till you say your piece.
And what was really funny is I don't remember, how did we get to that point where I asked you?
Oh, that's what I'm going to talk about. You
Oh,
keep going.
you say it.
Me?
Say your part. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, say it.
Okay, so what happened was mom and dad pulled me aside to have the talk because I was
Recently.
like 11 or 12 still
Yeah.
playing Barbies with Lindsay. We've talked
Yeah.
about this before. Okay, and I had the talk with them, and of course Lindsay was not allowed to be a part of said talk.
Yeah, which is
And
the worst
so
for my FOMO.
For her FOMO, she was like, "What did they say? What did they say? What did they say? What did they say, Megan? What was the talk
She
about?"
would not let it go. I
She
could
would
totally
not
see
let
that.
it go.
At
She was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I was 6. No, I was 11 or 12.
Okay, then
You
I
would've
was
been
like
8 or 9.
8,
Yeah.
7 or 8.
Yeah.
Okay, I could see that.
What did you talk about? What did you talk about? What did you talk about?" And she was like, and finally, I was just like, "Oh my gosh, leave it alone. I am not going to tell her about this discussion."
She's like, Mom and Dad told me not to. So
"Mom
I
and Dad told me
cannot
not
tell
to.
her."
Scarred me for life. Words were used."
So
Anyways,
she made up a story.
I did make up a story on
So
how
what
babies
she
were
told
made.
me was, I said, "Well, how do these Barbies make a baby? Where do babies come from?" And I'm like, "Well, I want these Barbies to have babies." And so she told me that the way to have babies is when a man and a woman love each other very much, and they get married. They rub their chests together really fast, and that's what makes a baby.
That's what makes it. Baby.
So I was in the closet, and I made sure my Barbies were married.
Our Barbies were in a closet. We had a giant closet with like 4
Yes,
Barbie houses.
It was awesome.
Yes.
So I would be in the closet,
Utopia.
like rubbing our Barbies' chests together, and I was trying to make lots of Barbie
If there's not
babies.
sound effects, I'm out.
Wicka.
So for a really long time, I had trouble. Like I was really afraid to hug people, and that's
And that's why I don't hug people. So
Side hug.
Side story. A few years later, it was my turn for the talk. And Mom goes, "So what do you know?" I'm like, "I already know this. I already know. Yeah. I already know where babies come from."
Why correct a
Megan
good
told
thing?
me, and
Why
Mom
correct
goes,
a good thing?
and then Mom goes, "What do you know?" And I said, "Duh, you just rub your chests together." And she was like, so Mom died laughing, unlike a parent should. She wasn't
Poor
like,
thing.
"Oh, okay." She was like, "That is not right." I was like, "Oh." Then she pulled out the Charlie Brown Encyclopedia, and the rest is history.
That was a
So-
great
Oh
one.
my
That was a
goodness.
good one.
it was a little heavier, y'all.
Oh, okay. This is all sibling stuff, so I'm sure it's something I did to you.
Lindsay and I had a very interesting dynamic whenever we were growing up, and Megan,
We fought a lot.
we fought like cats and dogs. I don't know why, but
Because we're very similar.
Yeah.
I just remember one fight in particular. We were standing at the closet doorway. And like we were mad at each other, and all of a sudden at the same exact time we grabbed each other's hair. And we're just like standing there, we're just pulling each other's hair as hard as we can, and I just like, one of us gotta give, and we didn't. Anyways, so, and it had to be quiet or we'd get busted, right? Like
We'd get in way worse trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
Silent war games.
It's crazy. Anyways, so when Megan was leaving for college, I actually wrote an essay. It said, "The day my heart broke," and I got an A, obviously. And I wrote all about how Megan has, been there for me and protected me, and I literally
Basically
thought,
a eulogy.
exactly, for myself.
Pretty much. For herself.
Because I literally thought that Lindsay was going to kill me like one of these days. Like it was going to go too far. And I was going to like call her names one too many times. And I wouldn't be able to run fast enough. And she would just pummel me. Yeah. And I'd be gone. So I'd just cry. I was so scared whenever Megan left for college. I was so scared.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So funny.
I don't remember fights. I just remember like coming up to the two of you and being like, y'all, knock it off. Like, y'all.
I don't
No,
remember.
you would take Lindsay away.
Would
I
I?
don't
Would drag
remember.
her away.
She
was feral.
Wow, this is painting in a really great light. I don't remember. Like fist fights, but we did all sorts of stuff like nasty to each other.
Wait, wasn't there like?
I know we like fought and pulled hair and stuff, but I don't remember
I would
like
not do things just because you wanted me to. I remember
not do things.
I would like be so stubborn, and you'd get so mad about me just saying no, I'm not doing that, and showing some sign of control. And like you would want to do fun things. You'd want to do my hair. You'd want to get dressed up.
Yeah.
You'd want to play Barbies. You'd want to like do all these fun things with me, and I'd be like, no, I don't want to because you're so excited about it. I got to chill you out a little bit.
Was that the reason
Like,
you were
I
doing
don't
it?
know. I just remember.
I don't think that was a reason.
I remember
I
not
just
wanting.
think
Like I would have wanted to if it was my idea. Like this is a little therapy, isn't it?
Oh my goodness.
you know you're so right.
Yes.
I remember
I was stubborn.
having a daughter and was like, now I can finally paint somebody's nails. Now I can finally do somebody's hair.
I remember you were so excited
Yeah.
when you got married and you had like 3 little sisters because you could give them advice. You could
or just
they
like
looked
do
up to
girly
you.
things.
They admired
Yeah,
you.
you were never
and
that
you
way.
didn't feel that ever from me.
No,
Like
that's true.
it's gotten a lot better since we've gotten older.
Well,
but
I don't think it's necessary, but when you have a little sister that's like a little adult, it's kind of hard. You were born a little adult,
I
like
was an
from
old
the
soul.
beginning.
I always want to go to bed.
You
at 8.
are an
from
old
the beginning.
soul.
Yeah, she would go to bed at 8. It was crazy. Yeah,
So yeah, it's like Barbies and stuff. No, I'm gonna go write in my journal.
yeah, you would. I'm gonna go set some goals.
I'm gonna go write a song.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
Oh my
We
goodness.
digress. Megan's probably gonna cut all this out.
That was good. I feel better.
So we are going to jump into our first segment for today. We're going to talk about Evie's pop culture corner.
I love this one.
Yeah. So
Evie's pop culture corner.
I like it.
All right, so I came across this on TikTok, of course. And this was a discussion from Bethany Frankel. I don't know if y'all know who that is, but she's a reality star personality. She's also does a lot of other things, but she's most known for being on The Real Housewives of New York City. And when I came across this, I was like, I instantly like saved it because I knew that it would be perfect for the podcast. But she says, we got to discuss something that's really bothering me. She said, these kids are all going to have anxiety disorder because they have jobs when they're teenagers. And then she goes on to explain what she means by that. And she says, what do I mean? I spoke to my friend today and she said, well, my daughter's going to camp, but I told her you may have to cut it short because you have to come back and you have to take an art class because you have to have a story in order to be able to get into college. And she talks about how she was talking with her other friends and her friends were talking about how their kids have preseason this and preseason that. And she said that she feels like summer starts and ends on the same day. And she says that, she reflected on when she was a kid and how she felt like it was more of like a free range parenting than it is today. And then she was also saying like how she doesn't understand how parents with multiple kids do it because they are going in 20 different directions. And they have softball, and she had a funny quote. She said, "Going to softball here and there. Are they Olympians? Are they all Simone Biles? It's insane." And she was saying how kids have a lot of pressure these days because they go to school, they have after school activities, some have tutors, they have pre-testing, and then they have testing, and they have club sports, and then they have real sports. And she was just saying that she thinks it's enough and that kids should be free, especially in the summer. And she was saying that she feels like they're all going to have nervous breakdowns and be on medication.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to know, what are y'all's thoughts on that?
I feel like even it starts in elementary school and middle school for people. Like high school, I feel like it's already happened.
I feel like we were talking about this yesterday. Whenever I told you that people need to hear that it's okay, like to not sacrifice the time with your family if that's what you need to do. Like it's like, okay, there's this, okay, my kids are going to be in all these sports because that's what they want to do. And then there's, okay, maybe they're not going to be that way because that's okay too. I feel like you said it in a way last time we talked about this on the podcast. You said it in a way that was like not judgy for people that do choose to do all the things. But also in a way that's like, hey, family, if you're making time for your family and that's still a priority, then that's great. And also, I've noticed with my kids, there's some kids that have like an innate passion for things, right? So you'll know if someone's not the next American Idol, right?
Yes.
If your kid is tone deaf, you're not going to tell them they're the next American Idol, right? Like they could work at it. I feel like if they're not really good at something and they have a passion for it, there's something there that needs to be cultivated.
Right.
Okay. One of my kids doesn't like sports, and she will do it kind of just for fun. And then another one of but she's an amazing writer. And so she's passionate about that. And so I've noticed that, and I've tried to cultivate that in her. Then another one of my kids is like Miss Gymnastics. And that's something that I've never witnessed before. That's like, you're actually really naturally great at this.
Ability. Yeah.
And we need to cultivate that because she loves it too, So it's like, there's things your kids are going to be good at that it may not be all the organized sports things, So
I think it's funny. You were referencing the podcast I did by myself.
Yes.
When I was talking about lessons that I learned from each of my kids. And one of my kids was talking about this last week because the lesson I learned from them was not the lesson they expected. And she said, "Why didn't you tell everyone about my social anxiety from school and how that has worked itself out?" And I said, "I just didn't feel like that's what I learned from you this year. That was like a previous lesson." But she's like, "The world's just not quite ready for that story yet." And I feel like it fits really good here to talk about how, because of the pressure to have good test scores and do all of that stuff, she was pushed to the point where she had an anxiety tick. And from removing her from that situation, it's completely worked itself out. And it's such a beautiful thing to see her, number one, recognize that that's something she may struggle with in life, is like the stress of situations and how that can help her moving forward. Like, okay, recognize that this is something that you are prone to, and make sure that you have the things that you need to help have like a skill set to combat that. And I think we're going to probably talk about this a little bit later, but I've loved that for her. I also wanted to share that I was thinking about this morning, and this quote came to me. I just got done reading this book, The Anxious Generation, by Jonathan Haidt, and it was for our book club. But this quote that he said I thought worked really well with this pop culture moment. "The great rewiring is not just about changes in technology that shape children's days and minds. There's a second plot line here. The well-intentioned and disastrous shift towards overprotecting children and restricting their autonomy in the real world. Children need a great deal of free play to thrive." That's evident across all mammal species. The small scale challenges and setbacks that happen during play are like an inoculation that prepares children to face much larger challenges later. But for a variety of historical and sociological reasons, free play began to decline in the 1980s. Did we see that? Mm-hmm. Yes, we did. And the decline accelerated in the 90s. Adults in the United States, the UK, and Canada increasingly began to assume that if they ever let a child walk outside unsupervised, the child would attract kidnappers and sex offenders. Unsupervised outdoor play declined at the same time that the personal computer became more common and more inviting as a place for spending free time. And I thought, by overscheduling and having our kids have every minute devoted to some task or something, we're robbing them of the experience that we have all had to learn and to grow and to be bored.
Yes.
I say that all the time. I'm like, there's
Use
beauty.
your imagination.
Be
there is-
problem solvers.
There is beauty in boredom.
Yeah.
Like, go be bored.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so true.
So be
Moms
bored,
right now in the middle of summer need to hear that.
right? Go
What
be
are we
bored.
doing tomorrow? What are we doing the next tomorrow?
Yes.
What are we doing? What are
Tomorrow
we doing? What are we
you're
doing?
going to be bored, and you need to prepare yourself for it and come up with a plan to how you become not bored. Because I have a plan for you become not bored. When
We have a rule.
Yeah.
We say if you tell me you're bored or you ask for something to do, you get a chore.
Yeah.
In our house.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, something that I think about a lot whenever I think about kids and sports and dramatics and theater and all these things that pull us away is how many people do I know that live that life and are not pro athletes, are not pro performers, like on a stage somewhere. It's going to happen to some. You're going to have those people that just break through and live that life, and that is their life calling. But for most of my experience, I want my people to be pro faith, pro Jesus. That's what I want you to
Pro
be.
family.
Pro family, professional at those things, because those things are going to carry you through life. And you need those skills. And how you spend your time matters. It shows what's important to the people that are watching.
Yep.
I knew a family growing up, and every kid did something different. And I just look at, like, they were always in the car, always on the go, always never had free time, never were together, could never go on vacation because they had too much going on or somebody had some sport. And I just look at their family now, and they're so fractured, and they don't know each other, and they're not close. And it kills me because growing up, our parents told us to pick one thing. And you got to do one thing, and you had to choose. And so what was important to you changes throughout your life as you grow up. But in our family, we choose, like, talk about it as a family. Like, is this going to help or hurt our family? Will this bring us closer together or further apart? And I say no to a lot before they even know that it's an option. And I feel like I'm weird and peculiar when it comes to that, because I'm very protective over who we are as a unit. I'm very protective over what is allowed in our home, in our family, in our time, in our space. And it's the reason we are as close as we are. And I think it is really important to develop those abilities of being able to talk to adults as your kids talk to each other, to fight and learn. Like, sibling rivalry and fighting is so important for them to solve their own problems. Adam and I try not to get involved as much as possible. Like, you have to work it out. You guys are here, and long after Adam and I are gone, you will have each other, and you have to have those friendships. And so while sometimes if you feel like you're in the middle of, like, running your kids everywhere and you don't know what's happening with one of your kids, I had that experience because it shows up differently for every kid. And high anxiety and overscheduling can show up very different. One of my kids was struggling with that and anxiety, and I didn't know it until I realized. I'm like, oh, I see what's happening. It was a very different reaction. There would be outbursts or crying or whatever. And it was because it was too much. And that was the reason why we started homeschool. And then our whole lives changed with the freedom. And I'm not saying homeschool's the answer for everyone, because if I had looked now and see where we are, I'd be like, you're crazy. You waited so long to have your kids in school, right? But it solved so many problems, and that kid is thriving because of we took having to be on time, having to get up in the morning, having to have everything ready, get out the door. We took that piece of the puzzle and got rid of it, because our mornings were so hard and so stressful that we removed that, and their whole life changed and they became a whole different person. So I think it's important to look for signs of anxiety in your kids. They look very different. Yeah. Well, as some kids shut down, some kids have outbursts. Some kids are angry all the time. Some kids, like, that is all anxiety. It's just over. They're so emotional and they don't know how to process those emotions. And if they're not given time to express and process and learn how to have tools to be able to do that, it shows up very differently.
I think that's great.
And I think I just wanted to say that I think that everyone has anxiety.
Yep.
And if you see anxiety showing up in your kids, you don't need to be scared of them being diagnosed with something or needing more intervention or whatever, because it's just a matter of helping them work through whatever that anxiety is that they're having.
Yeah, it's a great point. And give them the tools. And you learn the tools. Like, I've had to learn a lot as a mom to find the tools that work for my kid that are different than mine. So just praying about it and researching and learning is a huge deal. That was great. Evie, great.
Good job, Evie.
Great corner.
Pop culture corner. I loved it because I thought this worked so well with our topic today. Okay, so as moms, how does anxiety show up different in each of us? Like, what are ways that we have experienced anxiety?
I liked how you said this. Megan gives us notes every time over our topics so we can each plan and prepare. But you talked about how it shows up sometimes mentally for people and sometimes physically. And for me, mine is a third, which is emotionally. So for me, anxiety is I get overwhelmed and I shut down, or I like hibernate. Y'all know I do this. Everything becomes too much and I sort of retreat. And I just need time to myself. It's like everything is like I'm overstimulated by everything when I'm like having a hard time. And so that is what it looks like for me.
I think that's interesting because for me, I feel like it's a mental battle first. And when I don't take care of it in the mental stage, then it progresses to the physical manifestations of anxiety, whether that be biting my nails or having weight gain or not making good choices, like stress, all of those things compound. I feel like I'm more of a mental to physical than mental to emotional. But everybody has like the emotions to it. But I think it's interesting how different that is.
Yeah.
For me, like, same as Lindsay, whenever I'm overstressed or overwhelmed, that's when anxiety shows up, and I either handle it one of two ways. And I either stress clean. So Josh will come home and there I am. I'm like,
I wish I had that
organizing every cabinet, every bin, like have to do it. Or I shut down. Yeah. I lay down and I do nothing because of how overwhelmed I am. And my brain just can't process it.
Yeah.
I stress clean too. Jared calls it the Nazi cleaning lady. And he loves it when I get into the zone. For Chloe, I call it the zone. I'm like, can you please get into the zone and clean the kitchen like I know you can.
Yeah.
Everything beautiful, sparkling. She's like, okay, Mom, where's my AirPod? Let's get in the zone. And then also I've noticed that I feel it in my body. So like I've gotten really good at being like, I'm like really tense. Like I'm like, my jaw is tense. I'm like, I'm just like grinding my teeth and I can feel it in my shoulders. And then I'm just like, okay, nothing has happened. And I'm just sitting at my desk and I'm like, why do I feel like this? Like what's going on in my mind right now?
Yeah.
Cause I'll be just working and then I'll be like, what do I feel bad about right now? Or scared about? There's something that's gnawing at me and I don't know what it is until I just kind of like, what happened today? what's the last thing that I did where I kind of felt that guilt creep in. And
I
then
have
feel
those
bad
moments
about it.
too where it just like sometimes it'll just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But for me, it's more in my stomach.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why do I feel like this? Like,
Yeah.
why am I having anxiety right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like you just don't know what you haven't taken care of.
Yes.
So also like thoughts spinning for me and being really irritable, just like snapping at people. And then because I'm not taking care of myself and my thoughts. And then I just also retreat. I numb out. I just scroll mindlessly, doom scrolling, reels.
Yeah, let's talk about that. What we do. Mine is
Yeah.
a doom scroller, like check out mentally.
Yeah, it's just like it makes me laugh sometimes. So I'm seeing so many things about Disney now that I'm hanging out with you guys more. Like so many things about people at Disney. I'm like, so I also have like, sometimes it gets really bad where it's like a crushing fear and it's like hopelessness. So it goes from like, okay, why is this feeling in my body to like, okay, I can't handle any of this. And so I retreat and it turns into depression. So it's like, it goes from I'm scared about this, I'm anxious to like everything's hopeless. So I struggle with depression and it has just really been depression and not anxiety so much because I didn't struggle with anxiety until a couple years ago. And a lot of it's circumstantial. So the first time I got diagnosed with depression, it was from my divorce and I was struggling to figure out who I was after that happened. And then, like, I didn't even know what kind of peanut butter I liked, like crunchy or creamy. I was always a crunchy person. I'm like, maybe I'm a creamy person. I don't even know. I've just been doing what everybody else wants me to do. And then, and then a couple of Christmases ago, we were at a Christmas party for work and, I saw people talking and we were all in a big group. Everybody was talking and I look over and there's this woman that is so confident and so beautiful. And I just started freaking out in my head. Like I just was like, I'm never going to be like that. I'm never going to have what I need to have. I'm never going to be good enough, And so I ran to the bathroom and I just started crying.
Just from seeing her?
It was like a trigger for
The
me.
trigger thoughts in your head.
So I saw, the way that people were talking with her and people were laughing with her. And I'm like, I just don't have that, I don't have that charisma or whatever. And especially not in social situations. I come off, I don't know if y'all know this, but I come off as awkward. Not sexy and
never seen
charming.
that.
So just a little bit. Yeah. At least I'm self-aware. So
It's awesome.
anyways, so I just ran to the bathroom and I just started crying and I didn't even know why. I was like, that is so stupid. Like, I don't want to be the kind of person that looks at another woman and is like, I'm not as good as her. I've never, ever been that way. But things, happened that made me really insecure and really self-conscious and feeling really bad about myself. Anyway, so I was just crying in the bathroom and I was just like, what am I doing? What's wrong with me? Like, just freaking out. I couldn't breathe. I was like, I can't go out there right now. Look like this.
Was that a panic attack?
Yes. I think it feels like your mind is spinning out of control. You have trouble getting a hold of yourself and you just cry for no reason.
And your heart is racing.
You're triggered by something and it brings up all these things that you haven't dealt with and that you've just been suppressing. And it comes at the most inconvenient times. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, this is a panic attack. And so then I go out and I kind of walk around, and I walk around a corner and I just kind of stand behind a wall for a minute to gather myself. And because I didn't want to be in the bathroom too long, because then that would be weird. And then, so I just go and Jared comes and he finds me and he's like, what's wrong? Are you okay? And I was like, I just can't get a hold of myself. I don't know what's wrong. And then I was like, don't ask me what's wrong. I can't handle that. Don't
Can't
ask
talk
me what's
about it.
wrong. I'm going to just freak out again. And then in the next 30 minutes, I was singing Christmas songs for everybody.
Wow.
Well, because you turned
They
it back
had
on.
no idea.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like you have no idea. And then another time I was with Mom at a conference and we were at this coach's conference and I'm videotaping Mom as she's up there on the stage because I wanted her to see how amazing she was doing whenever she was telling her story. And apparently we're not allowed to have video cameras. So the main guy, I'm like, yeah, she is. Way to go, Mom. being myself. And then the main guy turns to me and he says, "Are you supposed to be filming right now in front of 200 people?" And I lost it. I was like, all this shame, all of this, like, good. I'm such a good girl. Like, I do not break the rules.
Yeah.
I don't like feeling like I'm in trouble, like any of that. I was totally a teacher's pet, all of that. I flipped out, and the rest of the conference, I went to the bathroom and I sat there and I just cried. And I was just like, why can I not get a hold of myself? Why can I not be a freaking adult and put my big girl panties on and just handle being like, why do I care so much that I'm recording my mom? And then they were like, well, just use this video for yourself. Don't publicize this video anywhere. And I was like, I wasn't going to. I just wanted her to see herself. Anyways, but I'm like, why can't I just be an adult and just not cry
or care?
Yeah. Like, why do I care so much? So I'm like beating myself up, which isn't helping. And then I come out and mom's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Don't ask me if I'm okay."
Yeah.
And I just started crying again and I ran back to the bathroom. Like, it was just complete overwhelm. And it was like, I couldn't get a hold of myself. So I just feel like if I don't handle what my thoughts are, and if I don't handle certain things mentally, that it shows up at really inconvenient times, that I can't be an adult. So, I mean, if there's somebody that just withdraws and you're like, where did they go? What's going on? It could be that. Like, something could have triggered them you have no idea about. And
Do you feel like it's suppression, like suppressing stuff that finally bubbles over? Like, how can people prevent getting to that point?
I think that's the whole point, is that you can't.
It's uncontrollable.
Yeah, you can't. If you have panic
You're
attacks.
trying to control.
How does it feel when you get anxiety? Like, what is it like for you?
I don't know.
She said stress cleaning in her stomach.
Yeah.
Sometimes like if it's social or like speaking in front of people, it's more like in my chest.
Like heart racing?
My heart starts racing. And I remember one time in college, I had to give a presentation in front of people, and like it's like I lost my voice. Like, I was trying to talk, but like it wasn't very loud. And like my vision gets blurred a little bit. Wow. It's just I cannot speak in church. I can't give a talk. I have to say no. And like when I got my calling to teach the class that I teach now, for me, it's very important that like the person that I co-teach with, like I feel comfortable with them. Like I don't, because even like I'll get anxiety that it's an adult in there, because my mind is telling me these people are judging you. Like they're judging what you're saying. They're judging like your knowledge. You know, that's what my mind tells me. Like, oh, like, what do you know? Like, they probably know more than you.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a big deal you're doing this podcast, huh?
Yes.
Like a lot of really big deal.
Yeah.
So what are some ways that we deal with anxiety to help? Like, what are some ways you work through when you have those moments or you have those struggles? What do you think?
I think boundaries is a big one. Like people respecting me when I say no to giving a talk and not trying to pressure me into doing it. Because I've also have had those experiences where they've tried to like pressure me into doing it, or they'll say like, I'll tell them like, I just have really bad anxiety. Like, I just can't do it. And they're like, okay, well, let's talk about it. Like, I'm like, okay, we can talk about it, but I'm still not going to do it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say that, just having a good support system around you, like Jared knows what it looks like whenever I'm going into my dark hole, and that sounds weird.
No, it doesn't. It is a thing.
It doesn't.
Come on, Courtney, get it together. Anyways, I just want to crawl into a black hole, and he knows what that looks like. And some days he just holds me, and other days he will tell me, okay, come on, you need to get up. We need to go do something. And he'll push me to get out of that place, because once you're in that place, it's really hard to get out of it. If you succumb to the thoughts and the hopelessness, and if you start I feel like there's a difference between, and you're going to talk about this later, I think, with holding your thoughts captive to Christ. There's a difference between having the thought and then believing it. Mm-hmm. So it's like you can have the thoughts, your thoughts can be spinning out of control, but there's a difference in accepting them and believing them as being true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference between anxiety and depression. Is the depression is believing that things are true and that the thoughts that you have of being scared and overwhelmed and everything being hopeless. And then I was going to talk a little bit about, some people have asked me about being a single mom. And I try not to think about it too much, because I don't want to dwell on that time in my life. But you never go into a marriage expecting it to be over. You know, it's supposed to be forever. And when it ends and you have to pick up the pieces and figure out what to do next. First of all, the divorce was really horrible. And I was scared and anxious the whole time about how things were going to turn out. And anytime you're dealing with legal battles, it's so scary. Even if it's a nice legal battle, like, it's just getting the courts involved. I had all these unrealistic fears whenever I was going through my divorce. And I was worried that my kids were going to get taken away from me. And I was scared that I was going to, be a pariah to society. I was scared that people wouldn't talk to me anymore. I was scared that nobody would understand why I was getting a divorce, because it's not something that we try to do. And I'm not the kind of person that would lay all my laundry out and tell everybody, because this is still my kid's dad. And it's still a child of God. So I was just worried that I'd look really bad and look like I was giving up, and I don't give up. But through the legal battles, I was going to say, I told myself, first of all, Megan made me a kick butt burn CD of all these incredible songs.
Power jams.
Yes, power jams. So those are so important, to have your songs that just build you up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Music is such a powerful way to get out of a funk. And then also, I just said to myself, I have God and truth on my side. And I remember saying that to myself over and over and over and over again. I would just say, I have God and truth on my side. I know why this is going on. God knows why this is going on. And nothing else matters. Nobody else's opinion matters. And I just have to do what I have prayed about and what I believe is best for my family. Period.
I love that. I love that so much. When I was thinking about how you work with anxiety and how you cope with anxiety and how you heal from anxiety, there are so many great things with therapy and medication and all the different avenues that we as humans have created to deal with this. But I know for my own struggles that God is the only way to walk hand in hand with him. And I love that that was your mantra, Courtney, that you have God on your side and that you had truth on your side for the reasons why you did it. And nobody needed to understand that or validate that for you, because it was your own personal journey. I like to put a scripture or story with every topic that we have with this. And I was thinking about this topic And I was like, what would even fit? And I had the thought, but God. And that's something that we say a lot in our family from different podcasts that we've listened to and scriptures that we've studied. And the story in particular where this comes from is actually in the book of Genesis. And it is the story of Joseph and his coat of many colors. Every time I think about it, I think Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. That is not it. But
Me too. Joseph, you know.
Yes. So it is the story of Joseph. And if you think about his life and you think about his experiences, his brothers literally were jealous and envious of him, threw him in a pit. So then he was picked up by traders who sold him into slavery. To then he ended up in Pharaoh's house serving him. To then he ended up working his way up to be Pharaoh's right-hand man. And the beautiful and touching part, if you are in the middle of a moment of mess where you feel anxious or you feel depressed, I want you to think about this scripture. When Joseph has his brothers come to him at Pharaoh's palace, and there's the famine, and they are literally groveling because they have needs. And Joseph was there, and they don't recognize him because he doesn't look anything like the brother they threw in the pit, because God was making something else of him. And the scripture is 45, verse 7 and 8. And he's talking to his brothers when he finally says, do you remember me? He says, and God sent me before you to preserve you a posterity in the earth, and to save your lives by great deliverance. So now it was not you that sent me hither, but God. And he made me a father to Pharaoh, and a lord of his house, and a ruler throughout all the land of Egypt. God created those trials for Joseph. And God was designing who Joseph should be so that he could literally save his whole entire family and a whole nation of people to do what he was meant to do. So if you're in the middle of the mess, turn to God, because he knows, because he has designed this for you to help you into the becoming of who you're meant to be. And there's power in recognizing that in the middle of it, because we all have the moments where we deal with anxiety, where we deal with self-doubt, where we deal with coming into who we're meant to be, and the adversary and the world wanting to literally keep us down, shut us up, push us out, make us feel like the choices we make that affect generations, because Courtney, that's what you did. The choice you made will affect generations. And it's important to remember that but God is in the middle of all of this with us. We just have to have the clarity to kind of step back and see that. And it matters. Does anybody else have what they'd like to add?
I think I just wanted to say one thing, that whenever I found out that I had depression in a way that needed medication and help and intervention, they called it situational depression, which kind of gave me hope that it wasn't something wrong with me. It was something that I was dealing with that needed help. So I just hope that if there's anybody that feels like if someone asks them how they're doing, they just start weeping. Mm-hmm. You know, if someone's like, hey, how are you? And you're like, whoa, and it just all comes, that there could be just a situation that is a little bit harder to deal with for your brain and might need a little bit of help for the moment. Mm-hmm. And then I got off of medication for a while, and then more crap hit the fan, and I got back on it, and so it's just been a tool to handle some of the things life throws at you.
I think a lot of people will depend way too much on the
the medication and do nothing else. And I think it's so important that it's a tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, or they're looking for it to fix everything. It's just a tool. Maybe for a season, maybe for longer.
They're trusting in that more than God.
Yeah.
What
But
he
you
can
need
do.
sometimes you need that. But
You do.
sometimes you also need everything else.
Well, that's
you need
the
to
thing,
reach out
too.
to people that know and love you.
You
need to open up.
you have to live mindful with balance of like having both, because there's
Yeah.
some people just feel like something's wrong, I've got to pray my way out of it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is a little bit more.
Yeah.
And so you've got to be at a place and
Open to
open
both.
open to both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever you need, whatever God wants you to have, because
Yeah.
different circumstances call for different protocols. So
And we're going to talk more about this next week about thriving in the face of all of this, but I think it's important that you share with people and like bring in your village. I think it's important that if it's medication, to be open to that. I think it's important to talk about it. I think it's important to turn to God, to fill yourself with good things and good words. There's so many things to be able to do, and we'll talk about more of that next week. But
sometimes the kids could tell when I was a little bit more feeling depressed. There's just some days that are just bad days.
Yeah.
And I would just say, Mommy is having a sad day today.
Yeah.
And we had to figure out that that's okay. And sometimes Mommy has a sad day.
well, and
Yeah.
it's like your kids know, but if you just, I'm fine.
Right. Let's go go
Yeah.
do something
Sometimes
to distract
it's-
us from feeling.
Yeah, sometimes
that's
it's
not
okay
okay.
that they see, like, I love that they see you going through that, and then they can be there to comfort you, to snuggle you more.
Oh, yeah. It's nice.
Because they will.
Yeah.
They do. They just show up. So I think you're teaching them how to not bury things and how to just be okay being how you are today.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
All right. There's a quote that I found and I loved, and it says, anxiety happens when we think we have to figure everything out. Turn to God. He already has the plan. So our reflection question for this week is, what's one anxious thought you're ready to surrender to God? Nobody knows what that looks like but you. But kind of internalize that and think about it. And like, what is one thought that I have that I can give up? And maybe in the process of letting go that thought, it will save you heartache down the road from not having to deal with that later. All right. Until next time.
Keep striving. We'll see y'all soon.
Beep. I'm
love
really
that
impressed
story.
with how long that carried on.
I mean, it was years.
Yeah. 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 And I'm also glad that Lindsay didn't start a fire in the closet with
It's probably like true to form. I'm sure I like tried to have Barbie babies for like a weekend and then I was over it.
Thank goodness that was when Barbies were made of plastic and not wood.
Back in the old days.
Back in the olden days.
When the Barbies were made of wood, I could have started a fire with all.
All right.
Sweaty. It's probably confessions. Hold on.
Lindsay has no memory of any of this, right? Because she represses everything. She's like, oh my
anything.
gosh.
No,
so
she
mean.
just doesn't remember. Okay. Oh, man.
Somebody's watching me.
No,
It's
we're going to
right
do pop
inside.
culture corner real quick.
Thanks for hanging out with us here at Southern Sisters. If you loved today's episode, don't forget to follow us on social media for more laughs, heart-to-hearts, and behind-the-scenes real life. We'd be thrilled if you subscribed to the podcast, left us a review, and shared it with your friends, because life's always better when we're on this journey together. Until next time, keep striving, keep laughing, and keep showing up. We'll see you all back here real soon.